Hey, my name is Sam. My name means listener, and I'm here to share with you how to listen to your intuition and to hear the wisdom of your soul guides because you do not need to navigate life alone. If you feel curious about your intuition and you want to reconnect with your innate power, then make sure to subscribe because every week I'm going to be sharing with you weekly videos on how to connect to your inner listener. So what is intuition? Doesn't it seem like this out there, like unreachable, untouchable, just word floating in space that doesn't like have any meaning? You're like, cool, people keep talking about that, but I have no idea what that means. Because that's how it felt like for me. I was connecting with my intuition for a long time before I really could understand what the hell was going on. And it took a lot of not listening to it to be able to hear. It's funny how that works, but your intuition is an instant knowing without having any conscious analysis. So that it has nothing to do with your mind and nothing to do with your thoughts. Remember, nothing to do with your mind or your thoughts. Then you're like, well, how can I hear it? I hear with my brain. My brain is able to help me hear things. Well, if you remember, we are spiritual beings having a human experience, not human beings having a spiritual experience. So hearing goes beyond the mind. And so intuition is wild because there's so many ways that you can experience your intuition. And sometimes you'll receive a message where you have no physical evidence to support the message that you're receiving, or some people call it a download. Like for me, I was receiving this intuition about connecting and contacting this woman that I knew about that was a life coach, but I've never had talked to her before. And I just, found her on Instagram through a high school friend and from a long time ago, and was, just had this feeling that I needed to talk to her. Didn't know why, didn't understand all of it. And then I just felt this knowing that I needed to work with her, but I had no money. I'm not even exaggerating, like no savings, living paycheck to paycheck in LA. It was the most money that I had ever conceived of spending in one go, like on myself. Had never spent that kind of money. Not even for college, because I went to community college, and so it was just wild. And I thought, what the hell, intuition, what are you telling me to do? Like, you're telling me that I'm gonna pay for this thing that I have no physical evidence for. But that's the thing about intuition. It's giving you a breadcrumb because it has other things in store for you, but you need to follow it. You need to trust it. And intuition is a big leap of faith and trust. It is a practice of communicating with a higher power, in my experience. So communicating with a higher power. So you can receive an intuitive download with attraction, where you might not be attracted to that person specifically, but you just have a knowing that you're meant to be with them. You're meant to talk to them. Could be with moving. You could be told to go visit somewhere or move somewhere, and you have never been there before, and you don't even understand why. It makes absolutely no sense. You're like, I have a pretty solid life right now. What the hell do you mean that I need to just get up and change like my entire world. I don't mean to scare you, but yeah, so it can be as simple as, oh, I woke up this morning and it's not a craving, but I just have this, and I got this message that I need to eat kiwi. I need to go get kiwi. Okay, so you drive all the way to the store in the morning. It seems inconvenient and you're like, I don't get it. I don't get why I'm in this car. But then you go there, go to the kiwi section, and then you bump into someone, and then you have a life-changing conversation. Job opportunity, you meet a friend, a partner, or you just, maybe it's also as simple as you feel like you want to go into a bookstore and you don't really know why, and you walk up to a book and you just open it and you just feel the calling that you just need to open it to a page, and then you read a sentence and you're like, boom, wow, that helped me out big time. Answered a lot of my questions about something that I was pondering and struggling with. So it's if you're familiar with praying, it's like an active form of praying because it's receiving. It's being an active participant in receiving the answer to your prayers. Intuition is being an active participant in receiving the answers to your prayers. What is your intuition? What does it feel like? How are you supposed to know that you're receiving an intuitive message and it's not a thought that's just been going off in your head? There are many ways it's going to be a unique experience for you. You can feel a sensation in your body along with a verbal message. You could hear it. You could just have a sensation and it communicates to you exactly what you need to know. For me, in my body, it feels like a gong that God is hitting or like a bell that God is ringing. And that's the physical sensation. And then for me also, like I said, I have some clairaudient experiences, so I will hear things. And it's like receiving, like I said in my last video, it's like receiving a message, like a telephone call. So a message that is coming from the outside into my body. So that's what really helps me understand that it's not a thought that I'm having. Like my thoughts are going on here and I'm receiving something. Like there's a different part of my being that is transcribing and receiving that message. And so, yeah, you can, and I really, I struggled with it. When I was younger, I didn't even know what intuition was when I was experiencing it. It was like I was so much in my people-pleasing phase and like really doing things that were betraying me that I started to be able to, I could like hear the no. And it wasn't a logical, like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this because of this. It was like, I felt it so deeply in my being, in my soul, that like, oh, like this is a yes or this is a no. A lot of people talk about checking in with your body. Like when I say yes in my body, like where do I feel that? Do I feel it underneath my chest, like on my upper belly? Do you feel it in your lower belly? Do you feel it in your throat? Do you feel it in your heart space? You might feel it in a different way. Sometimes I feel my intuition in my hands and in my fingers. And so, you could have many different ways that you experience it. If your mind is scared of it, it's not an indication to ignore the messaging that you're receiving. That's really important. And that brings me to intuition versus heuristics. And heuristics are the mind's ability to create a shortcut in order to make a quick decision. And these heuristics, so these mental shortcuts can be created from trauma and past experiences. So it's really important to be a student of yourself. Like if I could impart anything, and the thing that has helped me the most over the last, especially over the last 5 years, but really over the last 15, 16 years, is developing a sense of being a student of myself, and learning my patterns, learning my reoccurring thoughts, my fears, my family origin, the things that my family members are afraid of, what their patterns are, like how that interacts with me. And just, getting to know myself deeply and studying myself, and studying my mind. And so when you're able to separate the mind from your intuition and that voice, that's a really, there's going to be a lot of, I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do. Like, connecting with your intuition is not easy. But the process of it, or like the experience of it, is simplistic. And just because healing is always a lifelong journey. So it's not getting stuck in the idea that, once I've healed completely, then I can connect to my intuition. That is not true. I was deeply in a lot of difficult parts of myself and trauma when I was hearing my intuition. And I've even had someone reflect to me, well, how do you know it's your intuition versus your heuristics? And for me, it's like the things that my intuition was telling me, or to trust myself, was radical. It was a radical choice against my fears, against my patterns, against all the odds of me choosing. It would have been much easier to choose the fear, and instead of going towards the things that the mind is afraid of. So my first step for you in connecting with your intuition is, I'm inviting you to go on a silent car ride. I love silent car rides. It is a great way to connect with your intuition. And if you can, don't go on a silent car ride with anyone, if it's possible. That way you're not tempted to communicate at all. And you're not gonna be on your phone at any point. You're not gonna have music on. You're not gonna listen to the radio, nothing. And if it's possible for you to commute outside of the town that you live in, just maybe in the next town you're not so familiar with, that's great. Because the more unfamiliar you are, the more likely you can communicate with your intuition in the beginning. So you're gonna go either to a nearby town or the town that you're in. Before you go on this trip, you are going to get comfortable somewhere, maybe laying down or sitting in a chair, and you are gonna check in with your body, and you're gonna ask your body, what does a no feel like in my body? It could be a tingliness in your crown, in your heart space, right below your chest, in your solar plexus area. Maybe it's in your lower stomach, in the sacral area. Maybe you're feeling it in your legs or your feet. And then you're gonna ask what it feels like to have a yes in your body. And you are going to then, when you get in your car, you're gonna have no destination other than being in the area that you're in. And when you are met with the opportunity to make a right or a left, you are gonna ask yourself, do I go right? Yes. Or do I go right? No. And then see how or you can choose left and see what happens and then go there and yeah, follow the breadcrumbs, see where you end up. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked this video and you hit the like button, I would be so grateful. It would help out a lot. And if you feel that your intuition is called, you can subscribe so that way you can follow along for more videos. I'll have another one out next week so that way we can do some more inner listening together. And I would love to know how your silent drive goes. So after you take it, if you just want to comment down below, I'd love to hear about it. All right, y'all. I hope you have a beautiful and magical week, and I'll see you next time.